All right, I am live. 70 degrees out, but it looks like it might start raining, so I'm kind of in the garage as opposed to being fully outside. I gotta get this thing lit. Today I'm smoking by Peterson 606 Phoenix, which was a limited run on the Pipe Nook webpage, which is Eddie's page. He's a great guy. So I ordered this pipe from him. I'm a big 606 Peterson fan. This is the 606 Peterson straight pot. And in it, I am smoking L.J. Peretti Tashkent. And L.J. Peretti's like the oldest tobacconist in the country, or one of them. 1800s, I believe they started, but they're located in downtown Boston. Well, not downtown Boston, but right across from the Common there in Park Plaza. There we go. I think I got it lit now. Johnny Beat, how are you, man? I keep seeing your and liking them on your stuff on TikTok. I am full today. My sister and I took my mom to Mother's Day lunch at a place called Burton's in Mansfield, Mass. It was really good. Got a steak, eggs, bacon, calamari sauteed in butter. It was great. I had 3 gigs this weekend, and it was we played at a place called Leo's on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday at Martini's, and those gigs went awesome. I got to do a few more lessons because I got to chart some stuff out soon. Just haven't decided which one is worthy of my channel to do lessons. I also, Jimmy, my singer, brought a bunch of guitars over to my house. He wants me to do some setups on, and some of them don't need much, but some do. But he's got a G&L, a USA G&L that has the MFD mag. They look like P90s, but they're not. But it's a great sounding guitar. I really like those pickups, and I know Fender bought the G&L brand. I just don't know if they're going to continue making those pickups, which they should, because they'd be interesting in any guitar. They're very nice sounding pickups. And I love the MFD single coils that I have in my ASAT, but he has the real MFDs, which are like, they look like P90s because they're really fat wound, but this pipe tobacco, I mean, I don't love pipe tobacco like I do cigars, because cigar, and I already smoked a cigar just before this. But there's something about sipping on a pipe that I do enjoy. Although, a lot of the pipe tobacco to me is weak, or I don't know. But this Tashkent out of LJ Peretti, I think, is a fantastic blend. It might be my number one. I have to try it again, because Military Force from Boswell I really like, and I like Northwoods, and I love Persian Slipper from Watch City, but this Tashkent, I'm telling you, it's very good. Let me get one more light in here. It's funny, my cheaper pipes, the Baraccinis that I get from Pipes and Cigars, my Paracini straight pipe, I do a char light and then I light it, and it is the best smoking pipe. This is usually a very good pipe, but with Tashkent, I don't know, it seems to not be. There we go. Much better. I love the straight pipe too. It's just, but anyways, yeah. So I got to figure out what I'm going to chart and what I'm going to teach on my channel next. I haven't done anything electric on my channel in a long time either, but I don't know. Well, it was some good compliments this week. A couple of guys I know that play around town showed up on Friday night, and they were very surprised at how clean everything sounded, and they were just like blown away, which was a very nice thing to hear. Because we work hard on trying to get the EQ right and make it sound like it's clear. You lost weight. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm probably 175, 176 around there, 175 pounds. People in the gym are always like, man, you really trimmed down. I'm like, yeah, it's time to look like Tarzan, not the ape. That's an old Barbarian Brother line, which I always love and stole. But what else? I've been teaching a lot of theory to people lately, a lot of music theory students. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate that. Well, I'm self-taught, and I say self-taught. I mean, I took lessons from a guy when I was like from 81 to like this. I think it was December of 81. And I think I stopped in September of 82. And after that, I wanted to learn theory. So I taught myself like everything on my own. And when I went to LA and started working doing sessions, I mean, a lot of that stuff was just right up my alley, the way they talk music. So it already made sense to me, and that was kind of lucky. And so I try to teach a lot of stuff that way and how to understand music, and because I think the way they teach it, it's all backwards. Like I don't know if I'm repeating myself here, but recently I was talking to somebody about the minor scales, and I'm like, listen, I don't view harmonic minor as a raised seven. I view it as a natural seven and a flat six, because I'm always thinking about what's the root and the relationship there. I'm not thinking about what's the relationship to another scale that I'm not playing, which somehow in music, that's what they want you to do. Oh, you raised the seven of the natural minor. Well, you could say that, or you could just say it's a flat six and a natural seven. It makes it easier for me. I don't have to do any other work. we're working on Kashmir. And the section in Kashmir when it's like, all I see turns to brown. The mellotron, he's just playing a D harmonic minor scale, but he's centering it on the 4, so he's centering it on the G. Well, he centers it on the G, and then I would say he centers on the A chord, but he's really playing more around the C sharp. But it's still the same scale. It's still just a D harmonic minor scale. Frank, how are you? Welcome from New York. I'm in Boston. Well, 15 miles south of downtown, I would say. Not in the city, but I got to get out to New York again soon. I'd like to go to Cat's Deli again. Nice, excellent. There was a guitar shop too, like right around the corner from Cat's. What is Cat's on? It's Houston, and what's that? Whatever that side street is that Cat's is on. There was a guitar shop. I don't know if it's still there, but it's a pretty cool shop. I've been looking at the used market prices for Les Pauls, and I can't believe how bloated it is. That is ridiculous. I mean, I can't even consider buying one just because I just think that people are asking twice of what they're worth, and I would never play it anyways. I'm a Strat guy, but I don't know. You know, everyone has gas. Ludlow Street Guitars. Yeah, yeah. Is that the street that goes right by Cat's in the corner of House? It's like literally, it might be 100 yards from the corner of Houston. I can say I'm lucky. I got to play CBGB's before they closed in New York City. That was a fun gig. It's a fun venue. Reminds me a little bit of the Whiskey, but smaller. But it was a good venue. Oh, okay. It's near Ludlow. It's not. What's the corner? What? You know how Cats is like the door is here, and there's a side street right here, right next to it. Is that Ludlow? It's got to be that because it was walking distance. It was right there. I don't remember traipsing too far to see it. You know. I don't know who smokes a pipe, but I'm telling you right now, 10 from LJ Peretti. Give it a thumbs up. LJ Peretti is a funny shop because this was my second time going there was last Sunday. The first time I went there, I thought the guy that worked there was a dick. And it was just one of those places where, like, you know, when you walk into sometimes a guitar shop and somebody knows everything, but they know nothing. And he just annoyed me. And then I went last Sunday because I wanted to try Tashkent, and the guy working there couldn't have been nicer. The people there couldn't have been nicer. It was just a 180 experience where I would totally look forward to going back. Whereas before, my go-to shop was Watch City out in Framingham. And Ernie over there is a great guy. I love that place. But I'm going to have to do a direct comparison between this and Persian Slipper, because Persian Slipper from Watch City is also another great blend that I like. And if you said to me, "Hey Dave, you can either smoke pipes or cigars, what would you smoke?" It wouldn't even be a question. I'd be smoking cigars. This is way more like of a chill thing, and I'm not too chill of a dude. I'm usually back there. I have like a little TV, not so little, but it's a TV, and I play poker and smoke cigars basically all night. I mean, you know, I basically take care of my mom, so I really can't go too far when my sister's not around. She lives up the street, but Okay, Barclay Rex, I don't know it. But yeah, but LJ Peretti's a place that makes their own tobacco. Watch City in Framingham, Mass. makes their own tobacco. Another one I really like is the one out in Pennsylvania. I'm blanking on his name, begins with a B. I do this all the time. Bob B, what the hell's his name? But they make Northwoods and they make Military Force, which are two blends that I really like. Boswell Pipes. That's a great shop too. But yeah. It's just different. And when I smoke a pipe, I get to say to my friends, hey, where were you Tuesday? It's pipe night. It's a crank line. But yeah, I mean, I play electric during the week, but it's only for lessons. I really don't get a chance to go out and play anymore. So I'm almost thinking of selling 90% of my amplifiers. I'll pick up maybe one more and dump off, like I'll get rid of 5 or 6 and pick up 1 or 2 that I just want to have as a, um, but for the most part, I'm not playing live anymore. I mean, if somebody asked me to do a gig and the price was right, I would go do it. If somebody wanted me to go on the road for something, if the price was right, I would do it. But the price is very rarely right. You know? I see Triumph is out again, and I keep watching those videos. And honestly, I feel bad because I'm like, "Oof, maybe they should have stayed retired." I mean, the band sounds good, but Rick's voice is just, I mean, just like Getty now, their voice is just beat up and it just doesn't sound good to me. And it makes me feel bad because, you know, as a kid, when Allied Forces came out, I loved that record. And I liked the record after that. What was it? Never Surrender? Yeah, I'm a Strat guy. I like Tellys too, but I prefer Strats. Strats are the shit. And I got a bunch of Strats. I mean, I probably got 5 or 6 Strats at least. Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two, three, 4, 5. For 5 Strats. I think I got 4 Tellys. Oh, Rick is awesome. He's a great guitar player. But now he has some other guy playing, what is it, Phil X playing on stage with him, and that's unnecessary. You know, I would like to have seen them, how they go out, but, you know, they're older guys now, and Mike Levine's not in the band, I don't think, anymore. He's sick or something, I don't know. I didn't see him on stage. So, but they're an awesome band. You know, Thunder 7, I stopped kind of listening to them because I thought Thunder 7 was a little, what's the word? It's a little 80s for me. I hate the production on that album. I think it's way over chorused and also I thought the song sounded a little derivative and not as fresh as the 2 prior albums or 2 previous albums. Yeah, 2 previous records, like Allied Forces did, and Never Surrender. I thought were fantastic records. Yeah. Yeah, there was some, I had a studio. I had a brown mahogany wood studio that came out in like 2008 or 2007. I was at a Guitar Center in Studio City, and the guy pulled it out of the box, and I said, "Put that back in the box. I'm taking it. That thing looks great. The look of it alone, and it played fantastic. And I did many gigs with it. But when I came back to Boston, a buddy of mine was over the top about it. He was in love with it, and he made me an offer on a trade. He traded me a Music Man Sterling Classic, which was like a $2,000 bass for a guitar I paid 700 for. So I was like, I'll straight up trade. Yeah, but I still love Triumph, and I think Rick was a great guy, a down to earth, type of guy who's a great guitar player. Anyone that's like musical like that, I get to give him respect because I thought he was very musical, and I dug them. I mean, do I put them in the same thing as Rush? No. I mean, I like Rush obviously a lot more. Um, I think they had a much longer window of when they were great. But why are we comparing just because they're both from Canada? I thought Saga was great from Canada. I see Jeff Tate is out there doing what, Operation Mindcrime 3. He should have stopped that before 1. Oh, you do? It's the USA one, the Sterling Classic USA. They're great basses with that super thin nut. It's so funny. On a bass, I like a thin nut, and on an electric, I go for wide. So all my Strats have a 1 3/4 minimum nut width. I put Warmoth necks on them all at 1 3/4. One of them's maybe two of them are a little wider. Yeah, I don't think of them as Rush like. I mean, Rush to me was, that's prog. You know what I think an underrated prog band was Kansas. Man, I was driving home yesterday from my gig, and I have a prog mix on my Spotify, and two songs came on: "Song for America" and "Devil's Game," both off that same album. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but I eat one meal a day, so I don't even give a shit. I usually will go to, yeah, it's a great bass, great sounding, great playing. Um, the only thing I'll say is because the neck is so thin, the that I feel like I have to adjust it quite a bit, but it's got that, the wheel at the bottom of the neck, so it's an easy adjustment. It's effortless. So, but yeah, I smoke cigars, but I occasionally will smoke a pipe. It's not often, but Sundays I like to sit and have at least one bowl of a pipe. I do it to supplement because otherwise I'd be smoking 5 cigars a day. So I like to smoke it like 3. That way I'm not burning through 100 cigars every 5 minutes. And I can light up a few bowls, and pipe tobacco so cheap. It lasts forever. Um, Thing and you're good. This is not flavored. It's called Tashkent, and it's from LJ Peretti. It's a non-aromatic, so it's just tobacco, no flavoring. I don't dig the flavorings of tobacco. I don't really care for that. Um, oh yeah, they're great. Music Man necks, awesome. I just wish their guitars had wider necks because that's the reason that I stay away from like a Silhouette. I think the Silhouette's a great looking guitar and it sounds great, but that neck is like it's for baby hands. I don't know how Eddie played a 1 9/16 nut. That's so small. Well, I get a lot of cigars on the cigar page, and there's such great prices. I mean, I can get, basically, I try not to pay more than $5 a cigar. I have 2 boxes of cigars coming in this week. I got a box of CAO Speed Shop Habanos, which I got it because it was a cheap price, and it came with a free ashtray that I already have 2 of the CAO ashtrays, which I love. So I'm like, oh, I'll get the black one. I don't have that. And then I got a box of the Diesel Natural 500s, a vintage natural, which I love. That's my favorite right now. And again, this pipe I got, this is a limited edition Peterson. You can see the P on the thing here. It's a limited edition Peterson called the Phoenix, and it's the 606 shape. 606, I have like 5 or 6 606 shaped. Yes, I have played the same. So when my buddy traded the bass for me, he offered me the Stingray Classic or the Sterling Classic, and I went over his house, played both, and I said, I'll take the Sterling. It's also, the Stingray was a lot beefier and heavier bass, and when I play bass, I don't want to sit there and hold something that's going to weigh me down a ton like those old Alembics. Oh, but but anyway, so I ordered this. This was a special order from the Pipe Nook. I can't remember Eddie's last name, but he's got his own page on YouTube, the Pipe Nook, and he sometimes gets limited edition pipes. And well, I was saying, this is a 606 shape. I have 5 606 shapes from Peterson. My favorite pipe of all my pipes is a Peterson 606. It was the 2025 Christmas one, which basically looks almost identical to this, but it has a P-lip at the end instead of the fishtail. And I just love that pipe. It's a little different in the band, but I mean, but that would be my number 1. This would be my number 2. I also got a few Savinellis that I really like. The Octagano. It's a big pipe and long too. Yeah, it's a heavier bass. I mean, they're almost identical basses as far as the body goes. One has the electronics access in the front. The other one, you got to open it up. The classic, this Sterling, you open it from the back, which I'm indifferent to which way. But for some reason, I feel like they use heavier woods on the Stingray because that's more of the classic feel of the Stingray, was that heavy wood. But which G&L, up until its demise, kept that tradition of making everything too heavy. But yeah. Music Man makes great stuff. And see, Music Man is when I talk about G&L and why G&L struggled, was G&L initially, before it was G&L, was CLF manufacturing, which is why a lot of times you'll see on the serial number of G&L guitars, it'll say CLF. And when CLF used to make the Music Mans, you know, they made a nice guitar for that time. When Ernie Ball got a hold of it, he made some adjustments. He made the basses lighter. He put the wheel on it. He made a better instrument than what Leo was making. Let's be honest. He made improvements to the guitar. G&L didn't want to do that. They didn't want to touch Leo's legacy because they felt like that was their brand. And it's like, it's so, in my opinion, short-sighted, and also banking on too much of the fact that Leo started the company G&L. No one cares. When you play the guitar, you don't sit there and go, man, Leo, yeah, the company has history. You're not going to take away the history that Leo started G&L, but improve the shit. Because he wasn't always right. And, I mean, look at Jeff Beck. When they made the Jeff Beck model, they asked him what bridge he wanted. He wanted the modern bridge, the two with the pop-in arm. I think they call it the deluxe bridge, which came years after Leo left. I mean, they made that bridge, I think, in the late 80s. It was shortly after Floyd Rose had come out for a while. But Fender went and retooled that fucking, so, you can go back now and buy the original bridge, but that original bridge with the 6 screws is not nearly as good as that deluxe bridge. I don't care what anybody says. Jeff Beck knew it. I know it. That's all you need to know. Yeah. And if you're not constantly improving it, what are you doing? Could you imagine if Ford Motor Company, after Henry Ford died, they were like, yeah, we're not going to improve the car. We're going to make the Model T for the rest of creation. What? You guys will last a few months. You got to improve shit. And G&L refused. They didn't see that was part of the, in fact, they did the opposite. They found some turd that Leo never released and decided, and I can't remember the name. If someone remembers the name, it's a Skyhawk or whatever it was called. He never released it, and they were like, oh, we found it on his desk. He had the drawings, and we're going to make it. Yeah, don't. Stop, that's a horrible idea. The guitar looks terrible, it's awful. It was, but so they like doubled down on this is Leo, as opposed to let's fix what Leo didn't do right. So I think that was part of their demise. Well, I know it was. They should have used lighter True companies. Yeah. Yeah, and they weren't. I mean, and they had some great stuff. I always tell people that play in bands, when you're playing in a band, make sure you're concealing your weaknesses and you're accentuating your strengths. Don't work on showing off your weaknesses. And if you're a company, fix your weakness and keep your strengths. And they had strong things. Like I loved those MFD pickups. I thought they were a great pickup. I thought that the ASAT bridge design, I think, was better than Leo's original 3 brass saddles for 6 strings on the Telly. So I think that was an improvement. That's great. Keep those. That friggin' bridge that they had, that hardtail bridge, which looked like it weighed 100 pounds, that's unnecessary. And it sits really high, so you have to make the neck pocket kind of sit high, so the neck sits high. And now you get strings a million miles off the, I don't know. There's just a lot of things that I wasn't crazy about it. My ASAT that I have is all the good stuff with them. Ernie Ball, music band brand loyalty for their products and aftercare if you're not the pro musician. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that's a lot of companies. Did Fender ever put them E-tuners they put on Gibsons for a while? I don't know. You could have bought aftermarket. So how that worked was, that was a company that did a NAMM show. I think they were a German company called Tronicals. Now, I remember them, but they were called Tronicals. They might still be in business. You can look them up if you wanted to get Strat replacement robot tuners, but they didn't call them robot tuners. I forget what they call them. And Gibson saw them at that show, and I think the year after, Gibson started branding it and putting it on their guitars as like the robot guitar. But I remember them clearly when they came out at the NAMM show. They were called Tronicles, was the company that owned that started that whole electronic tuners, that automatic. Yeah, I think a lot of companies, uh, well, there are some people that are very tough on companies when it comes to guitars and stuff. And there used to be this guy that used to come in. He used to always want to buy Gibsons from me, but he would be so nitpicky about every little thing. He'd be strumming it for like 10 minutes, and just his technique, everything about it would make me wince. It's like I have a guy, he's a friend of mine. He brought his guitar over last week, and he was like, "Can you set up my acoustic?" So I said, "Sure." So he brings it over, and the neck is straight, virtually straight. I mean, it has, just the right amount of relief. Everything played great on it. I started playing it and go, "I'm not hearing what you're hearing. I don't get any buzzing." Then he starts playing it. I'm like, "Oh, this is all user error. This is not that the guitar isn't set up. It's just that you're not playing. You're not really good. And you're not pressing down on the frets, and you got buzzing going on." And he strums like the strings owe him money. He's got the touch of a blacksmith. And I'm like, "Listen, this thing plays awesome. I don't know. I'm not touching it. This is high." But that's what guitar companies deal with a lot, is people call and saying, "I have buzzing." And then they get the guitar back. They try to help. And it's like, "This thing ain't buzzing. I got to tell you guys, because I ran a store for years. I was in guitar retail for like 7 years. And I'll tell you, 90% of the time it's user error. Anytime if there's an issue. Now, if there's a finish issue or something like that, that's a little different. But anytime it has something to do with, like, I'll just say 90% of the time it's user error. And that's being fair. That's not exaggerating. Yeah, totally. And that happens a lot. That happens a lot where it's user error. And, it's hard to tell somebody that. It's like, well, not hard for me, but I think hard for most people to sit there and say, "Yeah, you're the knucklehead. This thing plays fine." Um, but it's just how it is. It's beautiful out today. I love this weather. Not too humid. I have another student, and he's always looking at pedals. And it's so funny now, because anytime I hear a gain pedal, I'm like, "Yeah, what am I supposed to be hearing?" They all sound the same to me. In fact, I think if you went and saw like any player, like if you went and saw like Greg Koch go play, and every song he put a different drive pedal on and was playing it, you wouldn't notice. You'd be like, "What? It's the same. It's all Greg. Sounds like Greg. Every time it sounds like Greg. Doesn't sound like you went to this pedal or that." It all, you know what I mean? It's like, so I tell people, play what you got. If you need something because you need a drive, well, then find yourself a drive that you like. But for the most part, you're going to just be on a fucking whirlwind of trying 900 drive pedals and finding out they're all the same. Oh yeah, you could tell right exactly. I had a guy. Here's a funny story. Um, but yeah, I used to play a scalloped guitar, and I have some scalloping on my higher frets, just on the from the three strings down. They're like half scallops on the 15th all the way up to the 22nd. I like that. But whole scallops, I don't love, but it works for Ingve, and obviously it worked for Richie Blackmore, and they like that. I don't love it. Um, as a guy I know, and he sometimes comes out to see my band, Yeah, true. I had a buddy of mine call me the other day, and he was like, "Hey, I'm getting this piezo pickup for the back, and they're gonna remove the tone knob, but I never used the tone knob." And I'm just like, "What's a tone knob? I've never turned one in my life. I've always had it just dimed. I've never used a tone knob. I just don't care." So this kid, he comes out and sees my band all the time, or used to, and he plays acoustic, and so he brings in electric one day, and he's like, "Hey, can I swing by your house if you set this up?" So I look at it, and the guitar was set up from the factory, and I could see it wasn't set up great. That I could totally, I like if it was my guitar, I would make it the way I. So I said, "Well, I don't know how you're kind of a beginner." So I'm like, "I don't know how you play, what you like." He's like, "Just set it up the way you would play it." I said, "Okay." So I did. I set the thing up, and I think I charged him $20, which is like nothing considering I spent probably an hour with the guitar, adjusting the neck and just dialing it in. I mean, I dialed it in, and was playing fantastic. And of course, no good deed ever goes unpunished. He's calling me a week later how bad he hates it. He's like, "There's something wrong with it. It just," and I said, "Well, it's probably user error." And he was like, "Could be, but I just do not like this at all. I'm going to get it changed. I just wanted to let you know I wasn't happy with it." I said, "Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I charged you $20. I didn't charge you fucking $75 to set up a guitar. I charged you next to nothing." And it took me a while, and I did, I did a real good job on it. So I was like, "I don't care." He's like, "All right." So now I run into him at a gig. I'm playing a gig, and he shows up, and he comes right up to me, and I see him walking up to me, and I'm like, "This fucking guy. Do I got to hear this story again?" So he's like, "Hey, I took your guitar to the store near my house. They do setups." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "So I said to the setup guy, I want you to set up this guitar." So he took it to an amplifier and started playing, and he goes, "Who set it up before? This isn't how it came from the factory, is it?" He goes, "No, I had this guy set it up, but I hate it." He says, "Give me the guy's number. I want him to set up my guitars." He's like, "So I'm asking, is it okay I gave your number out to this guy?" I said, "That's fine." I go, "Did he change it?" He goes, "No, he wouldn't touch it. He says it's perfect." I said, "Okay, good." But I thought that was hilarious that even the other guy was like, "Yeah, this is user error shit, man. This fucking guitar set up great." But I got the biggest kick out of that. He's like, "I hope you don't mind. I gave you a number. The guy wants you to set up his guitar, his setup guy." I'm like, "All right." In all honesty, I don't care if my students know what the knobs on the guitar do. I could care less. I want them to understand how to play guitar and how to know the music. And these guys get so caught up in gear. I have to say, none of my students are that way. None of my students give a shit about gear because either if I have instilled into them, like I have a guy who's always buying guitars, and he's also not just a student of mine, he's a really good friend of mine. And he'll play an amp for a year, get rid of it, try something new, and I don't know, because I don't think he's chasing anything. I think he just gets tired of something and wants something new, and that's exciting to him. So I can't knock him for that. It's not like he's saying it's not the right sound, because he bought two of those what Amplified Nation amplifiers. He had two of them. Then he sold one to his other guitar player in his band. And then he's sold his other one. And I said, "Well, why'd you sell it? That amp sounded great." He goes, "Oh, it sounded awesome. And I was playing it for like a year. I just wanted to try something else." I'm like, "Okay, that's what he likes to do." He's not like chasing it saying, there are a lot of guys, and I always tell people this, if you're playing a lot of gear and if you're looking for a particular sound, I mean, you can get it close to almost on anything unless something's wrong with the amp. Like I have a Marshall JCM 900 that I think the caps are done. And I told my tech in Boston, he's like, "Bring it in, I'll recap the amp." He goes, "It sounds like it." I'm not too familiar with the Super Twin. I think if you're going to buy a Twin, go buy a 65, that era, the AB 763 amp, or vintage sound amps out of Florida, Rick Hayes, who I've done an interview with on my channel. He makes custom built ones that I think are better than Fender's. And I say that only because he's using all quality parts and it's custom built. And if you want something custom inside, like he puts an off on like, I'm gonna have him make me a vibroverb, and there's an off on the tremolo. You can get a solid state rectifier instead of the tube, which I prefer solid state rectifiers. So, and he just does a bunch of other stuff like you have access to bias the amp from the back of the amp with two things there. So you don't have to sit there and go into this brutal task of biasing. So I really like what he does. And I also, when I have him build me one, I'm gonna have him put a slower tremolo in. I like a real slow trem, slower than the way they make it. And he's already done it once. He says he slowed it down from when he originally released the amp, but I was like, I even want it slower. And he was like, that'd be fine. Just let me know when you order it. So, but yeah. But like I said, when I'm teaching, I'd much rather have them understand what the piss is going on musically in songs, as opposed to, chasing the proverbial tone. You hearing that Tonewood? All right, this is out. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab a cigar. Although I got to say, Tashkent from LJ Peretti, that is a good tobacco. Give me 1 second. Just a minute. Just another minute. Just a second. All righty. I am back. This is the Diesel Vintage Natural that I love. going to be in like the 60s all week. I think like low 60s, high 50s, which, so I got to take advantage of this 70-degree day. Thank you, Frank. So yeah, so I think that yeah, I'm not too familiar with the 79s. I think that was still was that still the silver face? Or was 79, was that the time when who worked there? Rivera? Yeah, 71 here too. Was it Paul Rivera that worked at Fender at that time? And those were his modded amps. I can't remember. Oh, no, that was the 80s. I don't know if he got in there in 79. I never cared for any of those late 70s Fenders or 80s Fenders. I saw somebody selling on Facebook recently like a 65 Princeton, a real one. And again, the guy down in Florida, Rick Hayes, he builds a Princeton and he'll put a 12-inch speaker in it instead of the 10-inch, which I think is better suited for that. Although I think, oh no, what is the, John Sir makes an amplifier, these ZZ Top, yeah, 80s. Yeah, I was thinking it might have been earlier, but it's 80s, yeah. Yeah, he got rid of I think, what was his thing was he got rid of the negative feedback loops in his models, which in some of the stuff after he left, they kept doing, which is partially why I think if you buy a custom Vibrolux new, go take it to a tech and have them un-Rivera it, because I think they take the negative feedback loop which makes it a very noisy amp, as opposed to how they originally were back in the 60s when that amp was great, back when the Vibrolux came out there and part of that whole Blackface series. I can't remember the circuit of that I can't remember the circuit that's used in that amp, because back then the Twin, the Deluxe, and the Vibreverb and the Super Reverb all had the same circuit, just different transformers and different speakers and different wattages. But the amp circuit was the same. It was that AB763. And the Princeton and the Vibrolux were different. Yeah, well, I think the Rivera amps were better than what he did with Fender, because in Fender, I don't think he had a lot of leeway. He was modding basically those, but then his amps were, I think, nicer. But like I said, if you buy or listen to a new custom Vibrolux and turn it up, you're going to find it noisy and unusable, in my opinion. But there is a mod you can go in, and any tech should know what to do to make it like the original, how the originals came, which were quieter and better and usable. I mean, they're usable in a live context, because, who's going to hear that noise? But when you're recording, yeah, totally. In fact, when I was working at West LA Music, there was this band, and I don't even know what band it was. They were recording their first album. They were signed. They were over at the Village Recorder, which was across the street. And this kid came in and he wanted a Vibrolux. And he was going to record. And I'm like, dude, I wouldn't record with this amp. You're better off. And I showed him a couple of other Fender amps that were there in the store that were better for him. He wasn't having it. he was like, nope, my mind's set on a Vibrolux. I'm going to get it. I said, all right. I said, well, if you want, within a day or so, just bring it back and I'll get you the amp that you'd want to. And he ended up coming back because he was like, came back and goes, this thing's way too noisy. I said, I told you that you're not going to like it. They're awesome amps, but you gotta mod it because the way Fender makes them now, they're just too noisy. And I think, don't quote me, it might have something to do with the negative feedback loop. I cannot recall, but I was talking to a tech that basically his thing was when people buy Vibroluxes, he goes and mods them back to the way they were in the 60s. I can't remember what it was because I'm not an amp guy. I don't know dick. Most of the knowledge that I know is mainly from sales perspectives because I'm a guy that plugs in and plays, and if it's usable, it's usable. If it's not, I'm like, next. I don't know one thing from the next. When it comes to like even like higher gain amps and stuff, I always tell people like if you don't need a clean channel sound, that's great. And you're just playing gain, I think the rectifier, the dual rectifier, the single rectifier are great sounding. You can't go wrong amps. But if you need a clean, that's gonna knock your socks off as well. Then you're better off buying like a Bogner, like the Shiva in the 6L6. And that amp has a great gain, a little bit more Marshall-y, I would say, than the rectifier, which isn't really at all. But it's also really Fender clean on the clean. That sounds great. The Shiva's a great amp. But there's so much gear and so much stuff that's good, it's amazing how much stuff like in my YouTube feed I don't really watch anymore. Like I won't watch any gear videos. I don't care. And I see people's channels where it's like I'm gonna restring a guitar, and I don't get it. Like you get a lot of viewers, and that's cool, but I just don't get it. Why? Why am I watching you clean a guitar and string it? I just Isn't there a paint channel where I could just watch paint dry? So I don't know. For me, it's just like I find most of the gear talk boring. What can I say? And then it all comes down to too is I'm on the space. You can hear the planes going by me here. Logan Airport is like if I pointed, it's exactly about 20 miles that way. And the planes go always. They take off, I can see them going up that way. And when they come in, they're always going this way. Here you can hear another one coming now too. Yeah, it's like we're right in the path. I don't know if you can hear that one coming in. Yeah, here comes another one. This one's way up like it's way above the clouds. I can't even see it. I don't even know what direction it's going in. It sounds like it's landing. Nope. No, it took off over this way. But yeah, it's funny at my gigs lately, like a lot of people have been coming up to me talking about lessons, which I'm just playing acoustic and stuff, but I guess because we've been adding a lot of songs that have some pretty involved chords, and with the voicings that I kind of teach. And I usually just tell them, listen, go to my channel on YouTube and you can watch the lesson on the video. You don't need to come see me. Yeah, unless you want to learn the ins and outs of how it all works and all that. I see this kid, he comments on Facebook all the time. He's a guitar player. He's a pretty good player. I really haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but a couple of clips I've seen, he's a pretty decent player. And he's always hawking his lessons, like he wants people to take lessons from him. And he's like, learn songwriting. How are you going to teach songwriting? What song, you know what I mean? It's like, now I could show you song structures, and I can basically tell you, and I could I can give everybody here a songwriting lesson in 1 minute. Here's the lesson. When you're writing a song, pretend you're listening to it and not the writer, and write what you want to hear as a listener. That's it. That's your lesson. Write what you want to hear as a listener. Other than that, what are you going to do? I mean, I just don't understand how you can teach somebody songwriting. Well, here we're going to use this chord. You're basically writing for. I just don't get it. And plus, I don't even know if the kid's a writer himself. I just find like, I always want to reach out to him and say, listen, I don't know how that's enticing to somebody that wants to learn how to play. This guy's going to teach me how to write songs. No. I don't know that anyone can teach you how to write songs. Yeah.
I took my pill.
Okay.
Now what am I supposed to do?
That's it. Go to bed.
And that's it. I don't have to take anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
All right. Very good.
I'm watching movies, but I thought.
All right. Go lay down.
That's exactly right.
All right. Very good.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I was just like, how do you come across this? I just don't get it. Because to me, it's like if I was to study with somebody, that wouldn't be something I would ask them to, or expect them to know, considering, I mean, although Bob Dylan's doing a writing clinic, thank you. I saw a video, actually, one of the few people that I like on YouTube is, for music stuff, is Marvin Music. And I love that guy because he calls out like all the Berkeley nonsense and like the Yo Cats who, you know, teach jazz and stuff like that. He's more of a jazzer than anything, but he's right about so much of this stuff, like people leaning too much on the modes. And he's like, look, modes is just your perspective of the same scale over a different center note. And it's like, yes, that's what I've been telling people that, and not so eloquently, since probably 1986. That, you know, music is 7 notes, and you could sit there and look at it like that. And I always tell people, like, you know, if you see a major chord, like say it's playing a song and the first chord's in A. Well, you know you're going to be in either, you've got one of 3 keys you're going to be in. You're going to be where it's the 1, where it's the 4, or where it's the 5. If it's the 1, then you got 1 through 7. All are natural, all of them 1 through 7. If the A is the 4, then you know there's a sharp 11 or a sharp 4. If the A is the 5, then you know there's a flat 7. Other than that, that's all you need to know. You don't need to go in all the names of all the, it's just stupidity. So that's how I try to teach it, to let people know the 3 major scales, 1 through 7, sharp 4, or flat 7. There's your 3 scales. And in the minors, you get 4 minors and 2 major ones I omit. Which otherwise there would be 6, but you're really not going to use 6. There's just 4 minors. And all that is the differences of how you're affecting the 6 and 7. But other than that, it's all the same. You know, melodic minor, natural 6 and 7. Harmonic minor, flat 6. The 2 minor, flat 7. natural minor, flat 6, and flat 7. That's it. 4 minors. And once you see it that way, then it becomes super easy. You don't have to think about modes. You don't have to think about position or anything. So there's that. Another thing I do with my students is I'll let them play over, I'll find a backing track on YouTube of a major 7 chord, just the chord. So it's a 1 chord backing track, and let's say it's G major 7. And then I ask them to solo over it. And then I'll correct them and ask them to solo in the key of D as opposed to the key of G, which is basically, when you look at a G major 7 chord, you know, if you look at it on a piano, you got the G in the bass, B, D, F sharp, so it's a B minor. So basically I just play a B minor scale, which gives you the sharp, the C sharp, the sharp 11, which sounds nicer than the C natural, because that's just an ugly tone. If you play a G major 7 chord and play a C, it's ugly. You play a C sharp and it's interesting. And that has to do with, there was a book written in the 50s called The Lydian Chromatic, whatever. But it's a jazz thing where they talk about music gravity, and that the sharp 11 against the root is much nicer sounding than a dissonant natural 4. So, but we go over that and that kind of stuff too. It's fun. It's fun because it gives you a total different perspective over what you think, you know, and then when you apply it, it's like, oh, wow. And plus, it's nicer because anytime you take any scale you're playing, if you just take 2 triads of it that are next to each other, you have 6 of the 7 notes in the scale. So if you're playing like a G major 7, right? And you're playing the D major scale over it, well, then the 4 would be the G and the A. So you could play a G and a G and an A triads arpeggiated, and the 2 of them together over the G major 7 sounds awesome. Or you could go to, if you wanted to go A major to B minor in the triads. And you'd be omitting the root, which I tend to enjoy more, is when you omit the root. But that sounds great. It's 6 of the 7 notes in that scale. But you'll see what I mean. If you arpeggiate an A major over a G major 7, it is so much nicer than if you play an A minor arpeggio over a G major 7. And you'll hear it, and then you'll say, oh, that C sharp does sound better against the G than the C natural. You can hear it. I mean, it's clear as day. And you'd be like, and it's much, just nicer sounding. It's just a good little thing to know. I picked that up from a horn player. I was listening to this horn player, and I'm like, what the hell was that crazy sounding riff that guy played? It was incredible sounding. And what it was the song was in C minor, and the horn player started arpeggiating the A diminished and the B diminished, which are the 2 diminished next to each other in the melodic minor scale, the 6 and the 7. And I was just like, what? I mean, talk about playing outside, but just mind-blowing how good it sounded. And it's just food for thought anyways. I know I'm rambling here, guys. It says 20 people there. Give a thumbs up if you can, folks. It'll really help my channel. I can't stand, I hate when I watch a video and within 1 second of the video, they're like, if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. YouTube will think you'll like these next 2 videos. No, YouTube's not thinking anything. If you like this kind of content, like and can I watch the video first instead of saying it to me in the first minute of the fucking video? Could you please? Would you? Thanks. Thanks. By the way, if you're a cigar smoker, I highly recommend this cigar. It's a diesel, and diesels are usually very heavy, which I like. I don't love the brand, but I do like a lot of their cigars. But this cigar, this vintage natural, is way more Cuban-esque, if you will. It's, I would call it a medium smoke, but just right in all the flavors. I've been helping a guy up in Canada. He's a type 2 diabetic he had shots and he has a monitor. He was bad. And I'm working on getting him off of all medication. And so he's 3 months carnivore, 3 months no medication, monitoring himself every day. And every day is like his numbers are getting better. He's just now starting to lose weight. I think he lost like 6 pounds. I told him once the weight loss starts, then it'll start ramping up. But that's very exciting to me that he's sticking with it and loves it. And he's healing his body, which is awesome. Now, people, if you're a type 2, you're going to go to your doctor, and your doctor's going to say, well, you really can't have a cure. Bullshit. 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 I had a guy who was talking to me about Tonewood in person at one of my gigs a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about it. I said, listen, on electric guitars, it doesn't matter. He was like, no, I know it does. I said, okay, let me ask you this question. If I put 5 guitars in front of you and they're all different colors, and then I show you one each at a time and you tell me what color it is, what percentage do you think you're going to get it right? And he was like, I don't understand the question. I'm like, what percentage will you get right what color the guitar is? He goes, I can see the guitar. I go, yeah. He goes, 100%. I go, exactly. Now, I'm going to play you them and you can't see them. What percentage do you think you'll get right that you know which woods are on which guitar? And is it in the guess category? And the answer, of course, is going to be, and I said, if you think it's going to be higher than 90% or even 80% or 70%, I'm willing to gamble with you on any amount you want to bet. Now, does that mean when you see 2 Strats and one's made of mahogany and the other's made of a really light swamp ash, you're not going to prefer the lighter one? Of course you will. That's not the question. Is, does the tone change? And no. And then people will tell you, oh, well, the strings really affect the tone. Well, Billy Gibbons plays 7s, and I haven't heard a better tone than fucking Tres Hombres. To this day, I haven't heard a guitar that makes my fucking ears perk up like Tres Hombres. What does that tell you? Anyway, I'm probably pissing everybody off now. They're all going, no, you're wrong. Ah, shut up. If you want to watch the Tonewood ones, watch the Jim Lill videos. His videos are awesome. I saw a Larry Carlton interview once where he talked about his 335, and he says, on the Sleepwalk album, I played when it came out, all the reviewers were like, Mr. 335 is back with that 335 tone that you can hear a mile away. And he says, yeah, that whole album I played at Valley Arts. But on the cover, he's holding a 335, so that's what people think they hear. He also says he never recorded with his Dumbles, always his Fenders and Dumbles he used live. "16 people, not one person saying a word." What's up, everybody? What up? Yeah, just so you can see the band. Let's see if I can hold it up. Diesel vintage. What else? Anything else? What else you got? Another plane? The plane, the plane. What a ridiculous show that was, Fantasy Island. That's a small plane, so that's coming out of an airport in Norwood, which is a town, one town over this way, and there's a small airport there. That's what that plane's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Very quiet room. You know what? I do watch a bunch of cigar videos where these guys smoke cigars and talk about them, and I find it terribly amusing because every one of them suffers from pareidolia. Oh, I taste, like one guy I watched smoke this cigar said he tasted brown sugar and bread notes. And I'm like, this doesn't taste like bread, and I don't taste any brown sugar. And I don't know if that's what brown sugar and bread tastes like to him, I would hate to have his palate. But these guys, it's like, there's their father and son, which I like their videos, but one guy will be like, oh, I taste this. Oh, really? I don't taste that. I taste this. Oh, yeah, I taste that. It's like, oh, God, guys, can you just fucking just say you like the tobacco or you don't? Do I have to hear your nonsense of what notes you think you taste? For those of you who know John Bingham over at Bad Cat Amplifiers, John and I used to love that bit where there used to be this guy from R. Taylor Guitars. Now, I don't know if R. Taylor is still in business, but R. Taylor was Robert Taylor, well, Bob Taylor, his premier line of Taylor guitars that he was making in the mid-2000s. He got Larry Breedlove back down from Breedlove Guitars because Larry and Kim Breedlove started Breedlove, and then Larry left Taylor to start Breedlove. But then he came back to launch the R. Taylor line. And the R. Taylor rep, I cannot recall his name. And if I did, which I think I do now, I'm not going to say it. But he used to always say, oh, listen to that buttery tone. Listen to those floral notes. And me and John would look at each other and just start laughing. And we would do the bit from South Park, This is like, playing this guitar is like putting a warm sweater on after the dryer. This is like an Arizona sunset. We would piss ourselves laughing about it because it's so absurd. Listen to that buttery tone. Buttery? It's fucking gold, guys. See, I can't hear you laughing, but you should be laughing because that's gold. It's like an Arizona. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember the episode of South Park. I think it was Tweak's coffee. And he takes a sip of the coffee and he's like, like an Arizona sunset. Like putting a warm sweater on fresh out of the dryer. Comedy gold, folks. Comedy gold. But those are the videos I watch lately, is these guys tasting pipe tobacco and cigars, and it's like just hearing, and so in the pipe tobacco, sometimes they have a topping in the aromatics. And even sometimes there's a topping on the non-aromatics, and so you can taste, like if I smoked half and half, you can taste like the black licorice because that's the topping or whatever the hell they use in it. There's spices in it that make it, but that's about it. In those aromatics. If you're smoking like an English blend that has no topping, and these guys are like, even the guys at smoking pipes, who I really like those videos where people try to blind test them, and one guy will be like, I taste Perique. If Perique's not, and then there's like no Perique in it. It's like, look, I get it, guys. Just smoke the thing and say if you like it or not. Instead of you trying to pick out every type of tobacco that might have crossed the path. Oh, this tobacco tastes like a cow took a shit on it walking by. Okay. Harry's still smoking those stinky cigars? What, did a cow take a shit in here? Kentucky Fried Movie, folks. Kentucky Fried Movie. So next week, Jim, my singer, is out of town, and we have a guest singer singing with us, this girl, Jen. So that should be 2 fun shows. And then the week after that, we got 3 shows. We got to do we're doing a rehearsal dinner for a wedding, and then our 2 regular gigs. So it's a busy month. And I'm trying to work around July. I think I just booked a gig in July, an extra gig on a Sunday. And then the next Sunday, I think the 19th, is when me and my brother are going to head out to England for 4 days. He's got to be here for like 2 weeks. So we figured, why not just pop over there 3 or 4 days, pop around. Now, don't get too bored doing, because I mean, what else can you do after a while? We've both been there before. But we figured we'd go to like a cigar shop and like probably go to Davidoff's and then go to maybe Cavendish number 6, or number 6 Cavendish, I think it's called. A couple of cigar shops, get coffee, meet up with some people. There's a band I used to play with that's out there, so I can meet up with some of those guys. It could be fun. But I'm planning on smoking quite a few cigars while I can, since I'll have access to Cubans. So that'll be good. And if anybody's in the London area and wants to hook up, let me know. Reach out to me on my email. And I'm going to try to set something up where a bunch of us can meet at like a cafe or a coffee shop outside. There's one I know across from Davidoff that lets you smoke cigars and drink cappuccinos up front, or espressos. I'd probably have an espresso since I don't do milk anymore. This is the best time of year in New England because there's no bugs. Another plane. I don't know if you guys can hear the birds too. Can you hear the birds? Am I missing chat here? Is that what's going on? Or has no been talking? Oh, see, I didn't even see any of this stuff. Oh, look at all this. Yeah. Oh, okay. See you guys. Johnny is the guitar out of LaGrange. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. Millicent, I serve only the best at my gas station in town. There's a cigar called Gas Station Sushi that is, Gas Station Sushi is a cigar made by Sanj Patel. And the Sanj Patel SP 1014 Black is one of my favorite cigars. He makes great cigars. So let's do this. All right. Yeah, and I haven't tried Gas Station Sushi cigar from Sanj Patel, but he's great. I like his channel. I like the guys that work for him. The guy, shouldismokethis.com. They're good. They do a Wednesday live, and every Wednesday I'm walking around going hump day because they have some sound effect that keeps saying hump day, hump day. So I always say it on Wednesdays after I watch it because it drives me nuts. Hump day. But Sanj Patel's a shop in Jersey. He's got a cigar shop in New Jersey, and he does his own blends. And that SP 1014 Black is something special. I really like that cigar. Hey, Johnny, I was wondering if you could make your YouTube name any longer. It's like every time you say a comment, I got to read a book to see who it is. Maybe you should add the words records and tapes after too. Johnny's music, something, some number, records and tapes. Okay, well, let me see if I can read what it says. Johnny Kramer, the music movie 3147. Yeah, records and tapes. Wow, I got really bright there for a second. And Johnny, I'm not sure if you're into social politics, news, what's going on, but what I heard was that it wasn't Iran, it wasn't about the nuclear weapons. Israel had heard they were coming out with their own version of corned beef. And Israel was just like, no, we're not. Look, the Irish tried to steal it. We're not letting the Iranians. And that's what the whole beef is about. I could be wrong, but that's what I heard. I don't know why this thing like doesn't just pop up like it should. Right, but don't I have this thing that's always on? What is this? All messages are visible. All right. All right. What else? Anybody have any questions for me about anything? Feel free. I like the Lone Star. I haven't played one in probably 10 years, but I like it. I think it's a decent amp. But yeah, I like Mesa amps. I really like the rectifier, the single and the double, the dual, although I don't use the dual rectifier as far as like, I only keep it on the solid state rectifier on that. The subtle of the chromatic scale, that's a great one. Well, I could say it's not as subtle as the microtonal scale. Classic 30 is a decent amp. I mean, you can get great sounds out of a Classic 30. It's a great tube amp. Well, here's something you can think about in the chromatic scale. In the diatonic scale, there's 7 notes. Sometimes you can add an 8th note, but if there's 7 notes, that means there's 5 that's not in the scale. And those 5 can be used. I mean, obviously, if you're playing a minor against a minor chord, you don't want to play the 3, but you could play everything else. And if you're, playing a dominant scale, you could play anything, really. You could play all 12 notes. Because there's only, like I said, if there's 7 in the scale, you only got 5 left. The other day, my percussionist was like, well, he's with the drummer, but he plays the cajon. And I was saying something to somebody, and he goes, what the hell's a tension? So I had to explain it to him. Playing against the chord and adding tensions to it. I was like, you see, in jazz, there are no wrong notes, only tensions. Didn't PV also make a Classic 50? Wasn't there a 50-watt version of that same amp? PV made some good stuff. I mean, even the PV, like the Nashville 400 was a great pedal steel amp. And great recording amps. I thought the JSX, which I think is now called it was called the Triple X version 2 after he went to Marshall. And I think that amp is a fantastic amp. For the money, I think it's a great, especially on the used market, because I don't think the Triple X2 sells for shit. But that was the JSX after Satriani left. And then he went to PV and I hated then he went to Marshall and I hated the Marshall they made him. I didn't think it sounded nearly as good as his PV. What did he play, a JV? Was it a JVM that he played? But it's a JS, like a signature version of it. I can't remember. I think the Vintage Modern's a good Marshall amp. one of the better ones. Can you guys hear the basketball bouncing? The kid across the street's playing basketball. I can't see him because I have trees in my way, but I can hear him. Now the sun's getting right in my eyes. Ugh. That'll be a minute before the tree blocks it. What else? Anything else? Is there any songs I should teach? And if there is, don't name some song of a B-side of something that nobody wants to hear. Oh yeah, I remember that amp. Been seeing a lot of videos, dudes saying the solid stadiums might be better than tube now. Well, I mean, they're fine. You can get a decent solid. I mean, look, in the 80s, a lot of those clean guitar sounds, those crystal clear guitar songs, was a Roland Jazz Chorus 120. It's a great sounding amp, and there's no way you're ever going to get that clean coming out of a tube amp at any type of volume. No way. When I saw Oingo Boingo, Danny Elfman was playing a JC 120 and getting that clean, glassy tone, which I love. I mean, even back then, I think like, was it Flock of Seagulls that did Iran? That's just a JC 120 Roland going through a rat. What else? I'm getting down to the nub. Then I'm going to call it a night. Yeah, I don't know much about the valve states. I don't think I've ever played one. And I've never stopped somebody and said what a great sound you had when they were playing it. So I really don't know anything about the amp. That was a combo, right, between it had valves in the preamp and then solid state was the power section, if I'm not mistaken, was the valve state. Yeah, glassy or buttery, exactly. Well, glassy is that, there is that sound of that, like, where it sounds like it's reflecting off of like a hard, it almost doesn't even, it has like a transparent sound to it, but buttery, I don't even understand, because it's food. Two preamp with two solid state amplifiers, Marshall's version of Roland. Yeah, but the Roland, I don't think it didn't have any tubes in it, it was solid state all around. And they had that great chorus in it. That chorus was great. It was stereo. It was great sounding though. Come on, tree. Cover that sun, will you? Oh, here goes another plane. But those 80s, that clean tone. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't play that jazz chorus without some type of pedal in front of it if you wanted any type of gain. Hmm. Yeah, I dig this cigar. I dig it, you dig it, we all dig it. Very good. Yeah. Yeah, which is why I'm thinking now of just going with a head. Like, if I got the Shiva, I would get just the head and then great gain amplifier combo that pushes there and has a great gain sound. The single rectifier is awesome, but it weighs 85 pounds. So let me tell you what's not awesome: taking it anywhere, which makes it useless. I mean, if you're in a sign band and you got a roadies and stuff that they have to carry it, then who gives a shit? But for the most part, like, who the hell wants to carry that type of fucking gear around? Not me. Yeah, they're just too heavy. I bought a Yamaha, I think it was a G100 off this guy off of Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, because it has a great gain sound. And I'm like, this will be awesome to take out to gigs where I don't have to carry something heavy. When I bought it, then I pick it up and I'm like, oh my God, this thing weighs a ton. A week later, the guy calls me back and goes, can I buy it back? I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Yes, buy it back. And he did. Which was good because he lived right by this casino in Rhode Island. So I met Krellbar out there and we smoked a cigar. Oop. But I got to give Krellbar a call one of these days. Exactly. Well, I like London's fun for like 3 days. Like I said, that'll be fun. Go to Harrods, go to some steak places, and then get the balls out of there. It'll just break up my brother's vacation when he comes out for 2 weeks. So we're just trying to break that up so there's something to do and something fun that he came up with the idea because he's been watching a lot of the Davidoff of London videos where they smoke cigars and talk. And so he was like, we should go out there. I'm like, why not? Let's go. We can split for 4 days and go. And plus, I have friends out there that I'd like to see. The guy I used to play guitar for, the drummer I played with. A couple of guys from on here. I reached out to Judd on Facebook, and he was like, "Yeah, let me know when you're here. Let's meet up." So it'll be cool. Alexa, what's the temperature?
It's 69 degrees right now.
69.
Today's high is 71 and the low is 50.
Alexa, what's the temperature tomorrow?
Tomorrow's high will be 64 degrees with a low of 44.
64, that's not terrible. Alexa, is it supposed to rain tonight?
Yes, there's a 42% chance of showers starting around 7 p.m., increasing to 52% by 8 p.m., with a 60% chance between 2 and 3 a.m.
I don't know if I think I've been by Abbey Road Studios. I might pop by there, but we were seeing if there was anything going on at the Royal Albert Hall. Do you and the female you were playing with still do gigs together? No, that was Emily, and broke up. I want to say because we were dating. I think it's been 5 years now. Yeah, next month it'll be 5 years, and I haven't spoken to her. Well, the last time we did a gig was after we broke up. We did a couple of gigs, and then she met somebody, and which I'm happy as a clam for. I hope she's happy and loving life. But we haven't talked in over a year, maybe a year and maybe 2 years, at least a year and a half. I haven't spoken to her. So when I do gigs, like this girl Jen has been hiring me to play guitar for her on like private, like I got one in July. Oh, I got one in July. I got to remember when that is. I think that's the second week in July too. So yeah, so the last week in July I'm free. But yeah, so she's been hiring me. So anytime that Jim can't do it. So Jim, my singer, his girlfriend's son is graduating college in Memphis. So he's flying out to Memphis this weekend to go to the graduation. And so she's going to do the fill-in for us for that one, this girl Jen. But other than that, I just do gigs with Jim and Kenny. We've been doing steady gigs, like we're busy all the time. It's at least 2 gigs a week, sometimes 3. Between that and teaching, I'm played out, you know? It's like, like I said, unless somebody calls me to come out and play, it makes it worth my while to pack my gear and go. Light rain in New York, 84 in Chatsworth. It's great. Oh, you're up in Chatsworth? Go get a Brent's fucking corned beef sandwich for me, will you? I used to go to the gun club in Reseda, I think it is, the firing line. When the Big Angry was playing, the bass player was moved to Virginia, and I ended up meeting my new bass player, the one who played with us when Nick Menza was in our band. And I met him. Is that Chatsworth? What's that? There's a bar up there. Now maybe it's south of Chatsworth. I forget maybe it is Reseda. Was that Reseda? What the hell town is that in? But the Iron Maidens play there all the time. What's the name of that place? Why can't I remember it? Why am I blanking on the name of that place? Yeah, I'll film some soon. Now, because we're doing so many different songs now than we used to play. So it would be interesting. No, FM station was in North Hollywood. That was on Lancashire and Vineland, I want to say. No, not Vineland. Vineland and Lancashire cross at Camarillo. It was on Lancashire, and I'm blanking. What's the street north of Oxnard? Not Verdugo. What the hell was the name of that street? Victory. FM station, I believe, was on the corner of Victory and Lancashire in North Hollywood. No, this was like, is it Palladino's? That's over by Chatsworth. It's just south of Chatsworth. Is it? Is that what it's called? Palladino's? I don't know why I'm blanking. My buddy Howie used to play there all the time. When he was in Alcatraz, he played it. I think it's Palladino's. But actually, we went to go see Howie's band play, and this bass player and that was opening for Howie. And I loved the way he played bass. We got him. I think he's retired from playing bass too. He had like carpal tunnel in like 2010. I think he retired from playing. He was a great bassist. No, not Palomino. No, wasn't that out in Glendale? Are you really in Chatsworth? I was gonna say, let me grab my phone, but my phone's right here. What the frig was the name of that place? Let me see if I can remember the name of the street. So you had Topanga Canyon Road. Canoga. Maybe it's on Canoga? I think it's on Canoga. Oh, I can't believe I'm not 100% sure if that was the name or not. What the piss? But for some reason, I think it was Canoga. If it's not, it's the one street over, which I can't remember the name. But I think it was Canoga. So technically, I think it's Northridge that it's underneath, not Chatsworth. Chatsworth's a little over. Anyways, folks, this is gonna be it. So anything anybody else wants to say, let's say it and let's move on, because I'm gonna get out of here. That's, by the way, FM station, that's where so when I used to go to FM station, then it became like the Sauza, it became like a Mexican joint. And I was like, that's a great name for a cover band if you were to play rock stuff, called FM station. So we were FM station. And then we started doing the duo acoustic. And I was like, well, we'll be AM station, because we did way more like songs that was on AM, like Seals and Crofts, America, Bread. Oh, really? But yeah, so that's why we started AM station, was a spoof off of FM station, which, again, I stole the name from the club that closed. Because FM station closed, I want to say, in the late 80s, early 90s. And it became that Mexican place that, where it was all Mexican music and not one person speaking English is inside the place. That was, no, it wasn't a country club. This was a very, like a hard rock club. Begins with a P. Wasn't Palladino's? Like I said, the Iron Maidens used to play there all the time. They had a bunch of pool tables. They had that stage. Alcatraz used to play there a lot. It's a hard rock club. The only country place I knew was out in, was Glendale. There was a country bar. And I can't remember the name of that, but it would be something that you would know it's country just from the name. I can't remember. This is what old age does to you folks. I would think it was Palladino's, but you seem to not know what I'm talking about, so maybe I'm wrong with the name. Which is more than possible. More than very possible. But it was a fun bar. But if you're in Chatsworth, I think Brent's is in Northridge. In the little strip mall next to the Office Depot. And that's the best corned beef sandwich in America right now, as far as I'm concerned. I like it better than Katz Deli in New York. They have the best corned beef. Oh, really? At the country club? I thought there wasn't there? Oh, Cowboy Palace is in Chatsworth too. What was that? What was the place called in Glendale? I saw a Shaker out in Ventura. I can't remember the name of that place either. It was like an opera house or an old theater. He was great. And I saw him down in, he's a Costa Mesa. What the hell's the name of that place? The Coach House, maybe? I've seen Schenker a bunch of times. I love Schenker. I can't believe those Flying V's sold as fast as they did. That Schenker, he wanted like 18 grand for it, for that Michael Schenker Flying V. And I wish, when they made it, because Michael had it painted back when he had it painted like in the late 70s. And that white is like an off-white now. And I thought it would have looked better if they made it pure white like the pickguard, the way it looks in the drawing on the MSG album cover for 81. I think, matching it perfectly now with the way that the paint is faded and yellowed because of the top coat makes it look like you got the yellowish white, the vintage white, and the black, and then you got the white pickguard, which is pure white. So my thing was, you either make the pickguard the same white, like a parchment or a yellowed white like the paint is, or you make the paint pure white like the pickguard is, which would look better than Schenker's does today under the ownership of Kirk Hammett. It would look nicer than that. But they were making it like, no, this is an exact replica, and I just think it's like, I thought it would be better if they made it perfect. But that's just me. That's just my OCD taking over, of being like, why is that yellowed and the pickguard is pure white? And it kind of looks, all right. I didn't love it. I love it for the fact that those Schenker records, I think the Michael Schenker Group, MSG, and Built to Destroy are like level at least 9 on a scale of 1 to 10 of how fantastic they are. I'd give Assault Attack an 8. I like it a lot. I'm not a huge Graham Bonnet fan, but I really like that record a lot. Like, it's definitely I like it better than him in Rainbow. So I like Assault Attack much better than Down to Earth from Rainbow. But I think I like the Alcatraz No Parole from Rock and Roll the best of the Graham Bonnet albums, in my opinion. I just think that album is just, I mean, it's Yngwie at his best. It's Graham Bonnet at his best. Hard to beat it. But Assault Attack is a friggin' great record as far as like it goes. It's just when you compare it to MSG from 81, it's like, come on. That album's like a perfect album. It's so great. And it's funny how much I love Schenker, but don't care for UFO. I mean, I think Obsession is a great album. I think Lights Out is okay. Boom, that's the one. Paladinos and Tarzana on Reseda. Okay, yeah. That's the one. Yeah. That was a great rock club, man. There was so many great bands that used to play at Paladinos. I even think I saw Howie playing with, what's the bass player that wrote Shot in the Dark? Just a shot in the dark. Phil something. What the hell's his last name? I saw Howie playing with him there once at Paladinos. Is it Phil? What the hell's his name? Anybody Ozzy's bass player that played on Shot in the Dark? Who wrote it? I can't remember his name. But yeah, okay, so I was right. It was Paladinos is the place I was thinking on Reseda. Anybody feel something? Now it's all getting cloudy again. Clouds are rolling in from New York. Yeah, I saw a lot of great shows in LA. My favorite place to see a show in LA is the Greek. I think the Greek Theater is something special. I thought the Hollywood Bowl was fun, but the Greek to me was like, and there was that Italian restaurant right at the bottom of the hill there in Los Feliz, Palermo, which was like an LAPD bar, an LAPD hangout. All my cop buddies that were from Boston used to love that place and hang out in there. That's funny. Yeah, in fact, Howie and I went and saw Heaven and Hell at the Greek. Quick little fun story. So Howie Simon calls me up and he's like, hey, Heaven and Hell's playing at the Greek. You want to go? I'm like, when does it start? He's like, in an hour. I'm like, I'll meet you there. So we both hightail it to the, Howie was coming from the Valley. I'm coming from Santa Monica. We get there, park, get tickets, grab our seats. And like right before the show starts, we see like a whole empty row by the front, like third row. So I'm like, hey, let's just go. Let's go up here. So we go all the way up to the third row. And we get in there. And we're standing, and as we're there, it starts filling in a little bit. And we're like, uh-oh. But still, most of the row is still kind of empty. But there's a couple of guys. And I can see one, like, like when you know somebody's staring at you, and there's a guy to my right, and I'm just like this the whole time going, here, I'll do it this way. I'm like, guy keeps staring me down, and I know he's gonna say, like, my buddy has these tickets. That's my buddy's seat. I could just feel it was not good. So I say to Howie, I'm like, hey, we're gonna get some shit in a minute. These guys have been fucking mad dogging me. And he's like, just, look straight, like, just ignore him. So, but I can't because the guy is like literally like this. He's like trying to get my attention looking at me. So finally, full turn to him and I'm like, hey. And he's like, Dave? I go, yeah. He goes, oh, I'm so-and-so. I'm Bob's buddy. He's like, they were all LAPD. He's like, oh, a bunch of us came here. And I was very friendly with a lot of the LAPD guys. So he's like, and Bob was one of my best friends. And he's like, we couldn't talk Bob into coming tonight. I said, hey, listen, we don't even have these seats. We're way in the back, but we got, he's like, they're your seats now. It was the fucking greatest show. Third row, We were fucking right there the whole time and had the best time with all these guys. We had a blast. It was like you couldn't ask for a better night of seeing a fucking band. And we were laughing our ass off about it because we were like, you know, like I said, I thought they were going to try to kick me out saying that was their buddy's seat, and it turned out they knew me. So it was fucking great. Oh, In Excess. Yeah, I mean, the Greek, I've seen so many great shows at the Greek. I friggin' love that place. It's just one of those places where every seat is a good seat in the house, but the sound quality in that place is, you can't beat it. It's like perfect. I mean, even better than the Bowl. And the Bowl is like near perfect. Because then I come back out here and I go see a concert at Great Woods, and I'm like, the volume is so absurdly loud. I'm like, why does it have to be this loud? I'm sitting right here. They got the thing blasting like I'm deaf, which I can't stand about the venues out here, that they play everything so damn loud. When there, it's like the perfect effing volume. Perfect. What's this? What, yeah, I see this like a green dot right here. What is that? Oh, it's in the can. Oh, that's in my phone. I was like, what is this green dot right there? You guys can't see it. Anyways, that's my story about the Greek. I've seen a lot of great shows there. I saw Sarah McLachlan at the Greek, and that was one of the best shows I ever seen, just because the sound and the textures of all the sounds, just everything blended. It was like, it sounded like a fucking record. It was unbelievable. That band was so good. I've seen Devo there. God, I've seen a lot of shows there. I have to say, I think Heaven and Hell was one of the few shows I ended up paying for, because most of the time I was just getting tickets from people. It was crazy. Like people saying to me, hey, so-and-so's playing, do you want to go? I have tickets for you. I'm like, all right, take them. When I saw Devo, Dean Guitars, I went as a guest of Dean Guitars. And then I got free tickets to see the Stones, so I took the rep from Dean Guitars to see the Stones at the Dodger Stadium. He was like, oh man, you gotta take me. I've never seen the Stones before. This would be a thrill for me. So we go. We're sitting there, and like maybe the fourth song in, he goes, this sounds better than when they played at Altamont. I said, what do you mean? He goes, oh, I forgot. I went to Altamont. I saw them live there. I'm like, only one of the most famous shows the Stones ever played, but you told me you never seen them before? It was fucking great. Anyways, folks, that's going to be it for me. Thanks so much for hanging out. We hit the 2-hour mark. We're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. Thanks so much, everyone. I really appreciate your following my channel. And I'll do some videos soon. And like I said, as the time goes, I am going to start the DL show up at night again at some point. I just haven't decided when. So I just want to thank everyone for hanging out with me. And as always, very good.